established. I think success was defined in a very different way back then, but it was a thing apparently.
Well, awesome. So thank you everyone for joining us on the Windy Wednesday rally this morning. I'm super excited because we have Jessica on, who's going to be teaching us about Zapier. I say that, is it Zapier or Zapier?
I think it's either. Yeah. I like to call them Zaps, so then I don't have to say it correctly.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay, good. Well, we're ready whenever you want to get started.
Sure. And it's a smaller group this morning, so wanted to make sure it's personal and not preachy and teachy, more fun and engaging. So we can actually, I love to say that these type of calls can really be the get shit done calls versus the talk about getting stuff done, right?
Yep. Yep. That is funny because GSD is what's in my calendar for that block of time.
I love it. Good morning, Sherry. Good morning, Stephanie. So I'm Jessia Nieto. I am a real estate agent. Oh, you can't hear anyone?
Oh,
I can hear.
Maybe you might try the right arrow next to the mute button and then go ahead and drag in and make sure the correct speaker is selected.
Yeah. Oh, you're connecting to audio now. Okay, perfect. Good.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to try to share the screen here so you can get a little visual. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And it's not the most ideal share maybe, but you can see the screen. So this is my whole Canva account, not just my slide deck, but that'll work. So I'm Jessia Nieto. I'm a real estate agent. I am at eXp Realty. Also, last year I started doing some coaching just simply because Sorry, Sherry. I think your things are going.
That's okay.
You're filling in for sound effects this morning. I love
it. Sherry, can you mute?
Thanks, Sherry. Come back on together if you can. Love seeing your face.
Sorry, I had to join on my phone because I couldn't find what the meeting ID was, and so I had to go on my phone and then blah blah blah.
Oh shoot. Okay.
And that's why we're all here together this morning. Is like technology. It can be our silent partner, but sometimes it's our pain in the butt child, right? So
yep.
So I'm Jessia Nieto. I am just hit my 4th icon status since joining eXp Realty in 2020, April of 2020. So definitely had some fun headwinds since I've joined the company, but have created some success. Actually, before I joined eXp, I had a small brokerage. This is a picture of, you can see Michael Valdez and Jason Guessing, some other people you might know in there at a recent event. But this is what I found when I came to eXp. So I've had a lot more time to spend on developing agents. So started a coaching business last year and just doing some more fun stuff, right? Going to eXpCon coming up. I did 240 sides, 142 million in 2021. Why do I share that with you? Because then I know how to do a lot of volume. I've always been a volume girl, always been more on the investment side of business. So within that, I've learned that processes and tweaking them and automating everything I can, or helping my admin staff do tasks faster so they could do the stuff they actually like doing more, has been what's made my business sustainable and scalable. One of the other things that I've learned too is that we're in this different type of market than we were, right, a couple of years ago or years before that. The market is always evolving and changing. So whereas sometimes I have an admin that I could keep busy all day long doing transactional, administrative type things, I have to be able to put them into money-making activity mode sometimes and completely shift it if volume goes down. So that's where I've had a lot of fun with Zapier. So my favorite thing to coach and talk about and learn about is optimization. I like to say that we have these different pillars, time, energy, knowledge, technology, and relationships. And they're all very symbiotic. And the more that you can optimize all of them, the side effect is you get more time back, right? So Zapier is one of my favorite things. And Shelly, thanks for inviting me to come talk about Zapier. I realize that sometimes
I hate it.
Yeah.
However,
through the questions that come up in these trainings or calls or workshops or what have you, sometimes I actually learn something new from you all. So I'd love to make it more engaging. So rather than me just talking at you the whole time, I'd love to, I'll try not to pick on you. I like to call on people and ask their opinion, but raise your hand, interrupt me. I don't care. It's just a small group of us. Let's make it fun. So Zapier basics, if I could get a raise of hands, because I certainly don't want to go through boring stuff, raise of hands or something in the chat from everyone in terms of, yes, I know everything about Zapier. Or, a note in there, I've never heard of Zapier, just kind of looking to see where everybody's at in terms of, have you heard of it? Is it brand new? Or just go ahead and open your mic and share.
Yeah, I've heard of it. That's about it for me. So it's brand
new. Okay, cool. Awesome.
I'm excited.
Dean, awesome. Heard of it, never used it for Sherry. And then Kevin, you're using it a little bit.
Yeah, I use it quite a bit, actually.
Okay, great. Now, are you using it mostly for lead gen, for follow-up communications, or for administrative type duties?
A little bit of everything. I also own a call center. So I do a lot of stuff between my call center and agents, CRMs, and I do a lot of referrals. So I've got DocuSigns that are automated going out whenever one of my leads is a hot lead and I pass out a referral. So I don't have to touch referral forms. I got some of that kind of stuff going on.
That's music to my ears. It's like music. I start dancing when I hear automations. It's so fun. Yeah, exactly, Sherry. So the basics are this. We won't spend too much time on this. I created this simply so I could send it to you if anyone's interested, but I'm not going to read to you. Bottom line is, if you want to play with it, it's actually free to play with it, kinda. So you can't do much with the free version, right? So you could do what are called single step zaps. So Zapier is basically a trigger that causes an action. So it's, when I do this, I want this to happen. That's the basic. And as real estate agents, we're working with all kinds of programs. And of course, so many people come into the marketplace and they say, I have created the perfect application or web-based platform for real estate agents. It is going to change your life and do everything. We all know, after using a certain amount of these apps that are going to change our life, that it's absolutely not true. None of them can do everything that we need to do and help us with all the functions and the roles that we play. So what Zapier comes in is says, okay, let's connect A to B to C. If you want to do this and you want this other app to do that, we can help you. So that's the basics of it. Another way to explain a zap, I call them zaps, or that's what they're called, zaps. Through Zapier is a workflow automation. So it's just basically streamlining or automating any type of tasks. Why is it important? I put some stats here in case you all have teams or you just need it to make more sense why you would want to use it. Of course, time saving, that's number one. Accuracy, right? So sometimes we're afraid of the machine. It's like, oh no, but what if it messes it up? Well, the truth is we're probably more likely to mess it up. As long as our data is good, it's just running an equation, right? Scalability, that for me has been number one in being able to be here with you all, rather than, what happens to new agents sometimes. They get 2 listings and they're like out of their mind. They're running around chicken with their head cut off. They're busy. They won't go on. They're not going to go to EXPCon because their deal's falling apart, things like that. So if you really want to scale, you've got to get automated as much as possible. Who can benefit from workflow automation? Shelly and I were talking for a minute about this before you all joined. All businesses can benefit from this. And because we're in this people business right now, more than any time since realtors, maybe a realtor 5 years in the business, they've never seen anything like this, right? And one of the things that you could be doing right now to generate business is to help other businesses get optimized, right? They're having to cut their staff. They're cutting their, the economy's not as great for them. So every business can use this. So if you ever notice that one of your vendors could maybe use a little bit of help, or they're struggling to get estimates to, or whatever, it might be worth a day to go out and help them or connect them with your person get them automated, they're going to love you forever. So that's something my team and I have done to generate some, or to cultivate some stronger relationships with our vendors. It's been a lot of fun.
Great idea.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, actually. It's easier from the outside perspective to see the way people show up. They don't always notice, right? Same thing for us. Our clients are going to notice, they're going to feel that energy, the way you show up. And so when you're struggle bussing, it shows, unfortunately, it comes through. So for me, the biggest thing was, estimates from your vendors, your handyman, follow-ups, things like that. So a little quote, ChatGPT came up for me for this. I put this slide deck together. I've never taught this specific class, but I train on it quite a bit, just not formally. So I threw a little slide deck together, and it's automation doesn't replace effort. It amplifies efficiency, right? This stuff still takes time, right, Kevin?
No doubt.
But it's like same thing when you sell a house and you're looking for that ROI. It's like, what $5 items can we do to make another $1,000, right? Can we do all the caulking in the bathroom and make it shine and put some new plates on the light switches and it looks cleaner? Absolutely. Somebody's going to feel like the place is move-in ready. So who's been there? Anybody been there, struggle bussing a little bit with some systems? Okay. With some tools, driving them nuts. They don't talk to each other.
Yes.
I want to grab the pronunciation of your name. Is it Yulia? Did I pronounce it right?
Yes.
Awesome. Nailed it. Okay. Good morning. And hi, George. I saw you sneak in here as well. Great to see you. So we've all been there at some point or the other, or it's maybe our team, or our mentor, mentees. Excuse me. I'm sneaking around my camera here. Again, I don't want to bore you too much with this, but just the simple bit before we get into it is when you choose a trigger. So for example, there's a new lead on your Facebook. You're doing a Facebook ad, you get a new lead. Now, you've got to go into Facebook and you've got to look at those leads. And then now you've got to get them into your CRM. There's different ways you could do this. You also want to look at what CRM you're using. Maybe there's some automations available. But for example, if you also wanted to get them into your MailChimp or your email campaigns or whatnot for your newsletter, you can get all of that connected so it does it automatically. So a trigger is the thing that happens that sets the domino effect of the actions. For example, sending an email, updating your CRM, etc. All that you have to do is grab the free account, upgrade to maybe $19.99 a month, and you could do some pretty cool stuff. And you can connect all your accounts like Facebook, Gmail, etc. So then boom, you're ready to go. Advanced app is just one trigger equals multiple actions. So meaning you do one trigger and then it's going to do a list of 5 things instead of one zap is just one action. Oh,
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, so you can have it do it's literally limitless. It could go forever. Think of it like a campaign, right? Like a follow-up campaign. Or like in your CRM, when you do this, you also want it to set up a reminder, send them a text, and then in 5 days, send them an email. So think of Zapier similar to that, except for it's actually doing actions for you in the background.
Amazing.
So if you guys want to play with it on your computer, there's the link, but it's pretty simple. It's Zapier.com. And then I wanted to jump to this actually real quick. Let's go over here. I wanted to just show you the website real quick if you haven't been there. So this is Zapier.com. And if you run over and you log in, you can log in with your Google account. I am going to open it up in this account because that way it'll show it fresh without, there we go. So creating a Zap. So the first thing you want to do is just come in here and play with this. There are tons of templates. So like, for example, these recent, those are recent Zaps. So for example, somebody name off the CRM that they use.
KV Core.
Okay, perfect. So KV Core is included in a brokerage at EXP, which is awesome. And then you want your KV core, for example, to go to your MailChimp. Awesome. So when this happens, so example, new lead in KV core, boom, it's going to actually suggest to you some things that you can do. So for example, let me make this screen a little bit smaller so I can see it. You can add a tag like lead from KV core, whatever. You can set up a million different things in here, but you can actually add or update the subscriber. Meaning, for example, maybe that person's already in your MailChimp campaign for whatever reason. It's not going to add a duplicate. It can actually find it and update the record. It can create a certain campaign, start a campaign, create a tag, etc. It's endless. Essentially, you're going to find most of the actions that you could do in MailChimp available here that you can automate when something happens in another app. So if that kind of paints the picture a little bit better.
Do you have to pay for MailChimp also?
Yeah. So any app that you're using, you have to pay for. But as an example, there's plenty of different tools you could use when you're using Zapier, in my opinion. Kevin, do you agree with that?
I'm sorry, I had a call.
Yeah, it's okay.
What am I agreeing with?
So when you use Zapier, you'll find that you can cut down on some of the apps that you use, right? Because you can, a ton.
Absolutely.
So it'll save you some money. For example, who here uses any type of offer management software? Okay, so let's use another example. Let's use an example for MailChimp. So if you don't use MailChimp and you don't want to pay the extra money, you could use, for example, your regular Gmail account. So you could say, hey, every time that a new Facebook lead comes in, I want you to add it to a Google spreadsheet. All Google Suite tools are free, right? I want you to add it to a spreadsheet. And then I would like you to send me a text to notify me that the lead is there. And I would like you to send the lead an email and add them to my KV core, and in KV core, add them to a campaign.
Wow.
Sweet.
Yeah. Exactly. Well said, Shelly. I think it's sweet too. So here's a little tool, like getting out of the weeds of talking about all the tools, because that's something you can learn, and there's a lot of support for that. The number one thing you really want to focus on is identifying the bottleneck first, right? So is really doing that time discovery in your business and saying, where am I getting stuck? One thing that I think is helpful that works for some of the agents that I coach is to take a little piece of paper throughout your day and just make little notes, be super self-aware and say, what am I doing throughout the day? Just making little notes. Oh, that took me 5 minutes. I've never really timed that. Oh, it took me 10 minutes to do this. When I call this person, I'm entering it into follow-up boss, but then I need to do this, I need to do that, and I need to let my team know to follow up and right? So identify what you're doing currently. You can do this 2 ways. One, you can focus on lead gen automation. Some people will say start with lead gen automation because, right, we want to be in our money-making activities and we want to be focused there. However, what I feel like is I don't want to leave the kids at home with the stove on, right? So in my opinion, it's get your stuff in order first, because it's going to free you up. It's going to take away a little bit of stress. It's going to cut down on the costs, keep your team working on the money-making activities instead of working on these big time activities. I'll give you an example. It used to, I would actually time tasks in the process, and I create videos for every task that my admin staff does. The reason why I do that is not to be able to micromanage them, but so that I can understand how much labor I actually need, how much support I need, and what they're spending their time doing. So this is one example. It actually took my admin or she's actually a full-time TC. It would take her 15 minutes to draft a listing agreement, send it out for signature before I automated it. That included going into Win Forms, grabbing the info from MLS, doing all the things. So 4 listing agreements times 15 minutes times 1 hour, $20 an hour, $20 times 20 listings a month. That's $400 a month to type listing agreements. That's where it starts to make sense, right? It's like the referral agreements that Kevin mentioned. You could pay someone, if you're sending out 20 referrals a month or 10 referrals a month, that could actually keep someone busy for half a day, chasing all of it down, reaching out to people, doing all that. So that's where it really adds up. So you want to find those bottlenecks. And then that's where, once you identify the bottlenecks and you free up your time, you could create more opportunities through the lead gen automations. So you'll make the notes, and then you want to write out the task. This is where the work comes in, where it's like, I don't have time to do this, right? A lot of us or other agents will say, all of you look like experts. So maybe I'm talking to the wrong group, but I'm sure you mentor agents, for example, that say, I don't have time for that. I can't make time for that. And that's the reality, is they're not making time for it. But if they take the time and they write out the task, so step by step, okay, I've got to go into here and I've got to do this, and then I have to go here and I have to enter it there, blah, 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 blah. And this is about how long it takes me. Then you can actually go into Zapier, and that's where you start building your process. Just like a follow-up campaign. When this happens, I want them to get an email saying hello, and then I want to send a text follow-up, etc. So it's just like that. Then have fun with it, of course. So, if you save 30 minutes, if you save a little bit of time, maybe it's not a lot of time, maybe you're not a big producer or you're more focused on something else, I guarantee you it can add up. So popular Zaps for realtors. I'd love if any of you wanted to stop me on any of these, we can focus on them since it's a smaller group. Again, I don't just love to talk at people. I'd love to be more engaged. So, Facebook lead ads is a popular one. Go ahead, Shelly.
Mm-hmm. I just paid my ISA to transfer my old Zapier leads into KV Core.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad you came up with this one. So I came up with a Zap for this. Okay, so there is a way that you can are you talking about the leads that are the let's go to Zapier. So on Zapier, they also add, is anyone else using Zapier?
But yes, these are the old ones.
Right, the old ones. So not the ones that you can that go into your CRM. So like these ones, for example, right here. These are prospect leads.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not using this app anymore because I've downloaded them all, but I could send it to you. So essentially, this right here is the way it comes, and there's no way to really ever do it. And you have to pay someone to manually come in and grab all their information and put it in your CRM, because you have to manually click the phone number. But what I found is that you can actually you can share this and it creates a VCF card. So what I had them do, instead of manually entering each one, was I had them go in and download them being an admin support person or an ISA. And my thing is, I actually have a couple of senior citizens that got laid off from their real estate job that work with me. And I've taught them how to use technology, and I've bought them laptops, and I pay them $20 an hour, and they work part-time and they love it. They work from home. It's been super fun. Yeah, it's super fun. They love it. And it's just been really rewarding for me, but they love doing this stuff because they work, Rachel, for example, she works 4 hours in the morning, but she gets tons of stuff done. She's just amazing. And she has a lot of fun. So, cool. I download these, they download the VCF card, and boom, it's automatically being added as a contact. And then I just set it up that it scrapes the contacts directly with a Zap and puts them into a spreadsheet, and then they go into my CRM. I put them in the spreadsheet so that I have the big list and I can upload them somewhere else later if I want to. Does that make sense? Yes.
That would be a huge, huge time saver and money saver.
It cut it quite a bit. It cut it more than half, that's for sure. So that's just one of the examples of some of the fun things you do. But again, if you want to call out, I got a friend in my, here it is. Perfect. Got to find this. Yeah, the Canva. So Facebook lead ads, thanks for jumping in with the example. That makes it fun. If anyone else has an example that you want to run through or like ask me what's possible, I've also got Kevin here as my other guru to jump in if I don't know. One really fun one is Mojo Dialer. You know, Mojo Dialer, there's some automations, and maybe you know this better, somebody in the audience, but for me, what I really liked is that you could update different things back and forth between the systems without having to do some of it manually. Is anyone doing listing appointments or buyer seminars or community Zoom events through Eventbrite?
No.
Okay, so that's something my team and I have been testing out. We put them on Eventbrite and we put them on community pages, and we invite anyone to come for a market update and ask me anything. And so what's fun is if you get a sign up, then you can actually have it automatically update your CRM and start sending them emails, or text or what have you. Okay, let's talk about Gmail. Gmail is something that there's a lot of great tools in there, but one thing that I hate to call out on everybody in this room, so I'm just trying to keep it general about other agents we know, will get buried and they're very email driven. I'm going to sit and just every time an email pops in, I'm going to process it. I'm sure all of you have figured out that you process emails as needed. So one thing I like to do I don't like to spam report other agents sending me mail, because I see them as conversation starters as a real estate agent at EXP anyway. I don't know if you're all at EXP, but for me personally, I use them as conversation starters, and they're now in my inbox. So I have their contact information, so I can actually add them, send them an auto response that's as long as they fit into a certain category, that Zapier can put them in a label inside Gmail. And then I have my admin actually process a little bit. I have her kind of go through and make sure there's nothing in there that really shouldn't be in there. Just a quick little baby scrub. And then I turn it on so that once they get, I got myself lost. Okay, so the gist is that I turn those into opportunities to respond. Congratulations on your new listing. Wow, this one really looks great. I don't have a buyer at the moment, but I'll spread this in my network. Good luck with the listing. And then I have it actually send a Zapier to see if they're already in my system as a contact. And if they're not, then I add them in my database as an agent, and I start having conversations with them through my CRM that I have set up for realtors. Does that make sense? Okay, yeah. Cool. And so then that way I could start nurturing them. But what I've found is that I get a little bit more of an opt-in rate because they're the one that emailed me something. So I'm celebrating them and then nurturing them from there. So it's kind of fun.
You do that when you get like their newsletters also? Or
yep.
It's just,
whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Whatever it is, I have 2 people in my database. You are a human being, and you are either licensed or you are not. Right? That's for me is like, you're either going to buy or sell a home at some point. And if you are a real estate agent, we can collaborate in some way or another. So like to nurture all of them in some way. Update on Slack channels, things like that. Big one is distributing meeting minutes. If anyone's on a board, or if you run meetings with your team, there's a lot of cool things like Otterbot, things like that. But distributing meeting minutes, saving them maybe to a long running list of meeting minutes that you have, sending out action plans, things like that. The next one that we haven't touched on, that's more interesting to me than all of this, is marketing. Is anyone doing YouTube? Okay, YouTube is a big one. If you're working with a team, I have a team that supports me with that type of stuff, so I'm not physically doing it myself. But one of the great things that you can use ChatGPT, for example, is to help you come up with your ideas, come up with frameworks, come up with SEO, keywords and triggers for, what's going to be salesy and catchy and hooks and things like that. So we don't have to go down the rabbit hole of every single one. But yeah, so adding, where would I go here? A few extra tips to stay inspired. Of course, avoid the shiny object syndrome. Don't ever complicate it, right? So just start with one. The biggest thing is regularly review and refine. So if you're using Zapier at a low level, like moderate, high level, whatever it is, you've got to go in once in a while and just make sure that everything's working okay. Is it still serving you? Could it be better? That type of thing. Seek guidance and training. It's limitless how many people are pros on this. If you actually are using it at a high level with your team, you can get support and chat support with Zapier. If anyone nerds out on this stuff, it's the people that actually work at Zapier. So there's plenty of support there. But yeah, I would say invest in learning if this is something that can help you. There's no picture there, so that's not very fun. Like I said, it was the last slide deck. But yeah, start with one Zap, explore the website. So let's go back to the website real quick, and then we'll jump into some questions and maybe a real life example. But yeah, you could come in here and explore. Another thing you could do is actually search, and they will give you a template. Oh, here you go. Email ZBuyer PDF Zaps to Google folder. And this is when I started drafting it. So it says, when I get a new attachment in a Gmail, because when I first tried it out, I thought, I'll download the PDF and I'll have it automatically. That will go into a Google folder when it's in the Google folder. We can nerd out on this stuff, right? The point is that it will come up with these templates for you already if you want to create certain automations based on certain workflows. So you could come into Zapier and just have a little fun with it, and then you can create folders for your different businesses, or say you might have one for marketing, for follow-up, etc. What else?
How does this work, Jessica, with Trello?
Oh, Trello is my favorite. So who else uses Trello? Anyone?
My team and I are just starting to kind of use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my recommendation for Trello is Trello has a lot of automations itself. But let me give you one example. That's my favorite, easy example to understand how it could help you. So for example, if anyone doesn't know how Trello works, just imagine it as a workflow. So you have columns, and when you move something to another column, that's a trigger in itself to start additional actions. Similar to the way Follow-Up Boss works, right? So the way Follow-Up Boss works with, or different CRMs in terms of deal flow. I don't use it for deal flow, but as an example, if you were to move one over, I don't have Trello open right now, but if you move one over, move a deal over from here over to here, certain things are going to happen. So what's fun about Trello and Zapier is a billion things, but let me give you an example from a media standpoint. Say, for example, you had completely figured out this business that it is only about marketing and you love doing video. What would happen if you only created video all day instead of trying to edit it, trying to create the perfect scripts, create the perfect titles, editing the video? You've got a little team set up, your ISAs, they edit your videos, they do this and that. And say, for example, you're watching a video or you're having a conversation and you say, ooh, I'd like to do a video. I think that'd be a really good topic to talk about Zapier for real estate agents. I'm going to do a video on that. You could go to your Trello, marketing Trello, and you could say, and put in the column that is ideas, right? For later, ideas that I want to do a video on, content ideas. And you could say, I want to do a video on Zapier for realtors. And now your team knows that they're going to do some content research. You can actually set it up so that ChatGPT is connected through Zapier to do, and this takes a lot more formatting because you have to put in really clean inputs to get the desired output, but it's all doable and it's all available to anyone that wants to learn it. But you essentially could have you just enter it. I just want to learn about this, or I want to do a video about this. And then it can actually go in and do a bunch of tasks for you. For example, creating a framework of your script to generate some ideas for you. So now you're getting out of the bottleneck of spending the time on writing out the script. It could come up with the title for you, the tags, and some teaser salesy, little descriptions, etc. And when you come back in and you've let that marinate for a second, you could say, oh, cool, here's my script, here's my stuff. Now I could just shoot my video. Once you're done shooting the video, you've also had Zapier create a Google folder for you that's already titled, and the link is in your Trello. So all you do is shoot your video and you drop your video into the Google folder that's already there and you slide it over. So those are the only things you've done except for shoot a video. Now it's in the folder for your editor. Your editor is able to grow in. They've got the Google thing, the Google folder. They could grab your video, they can edit your video, and they can move it over to production. And then, of course, there's a million other things. But that's just one little example of how you've helped automate a lot of things so that you're just coming up with an idea. It's doing everything, getting everything for you. And then you're spending your time shooting video, which is the most important thing if you're focused on that type of marketing. So I think I've talked y'all's ear off. I'd love for anyone to jump in with some feedback.
I think that was awesome. I feel like that was above my pay grade a little bit too. So I'm going to have to go in and definitely play around with it.
Well, let's make it fun this way. Who's got something that they can share that is a little bottleneck of some sort, whether it be small or big, that takes you time? It could be anything.
Well, I am interested in, you said it. So if you're writing listing contracts and then sending those to DocuSign or whatever, is there an easier way? Can you do a Zapier for that?
Yes. And Kevin, I'm going to ask you to jump in here and help us with a real quick idea of how you do your referral forms, if you don't mind.
Okay.
For fun.
I tell you what, I'm pulling up one of my Zaps right now. Shelly, make me co-host so I can share.
You should just be able to share, no?
Okay.
I do something a little bit different with, while you're pulling that up, with my listing forms, is I've actually created a PDF, my own form that fills in the forms based on the info I put in a spreadsheet. So
this is so awesome.
All right. So it all starts with DocuSign. So I haven't done the listing agreement that she's speaking of yet because I haven't thought about that. So when you go into your DocuSign, this thing will get me logged in here. I go to my templates and let's see here. I want this one right here. Let's see here. So if I want to create a template with the, so I upload the referral agreement. And then where you would normally drag and drop your boxes, that's what you do. But what you want to do is, let's say I want to drop a name box here. I want to save this as a custom field. And when you do that, you want to make sure you rename it. All right, because that's going to come into play when you go to create your Zap. Otherwise, you're going to see this as the field, and you're not going to know which field that is. Hang with me. It'll make sense in a second. And then what I have found, after I do that, I delete it, and then I pull up my list of custom forms, custom fields over here, and drag it over. It seems to stick better because I've had it where it like gets lost. So anyway, once you create your referral form or your listing agreement, whatever you're going to do, you've got your template saved. Now, this is kind of a part 2 or part 3 flow here. So what has happened in order for this flow to even get started was my ISAs found a hot lead. They dispoed the call hot lead. And what happened at that point is a Zap kicked in, which started a campaign over here and texted. Okay. So what happened was the agents that are signed up with me to receive leads in this case, Tampa, they received this text message. It was, "Hi, Shelly, the new Home Pros customers looking to buy in your area. Can you call them in the next 10 minutes, yes or no?" The first agent that says yes, they get the lead details down here: the name, email, phone, and any call notes. It gets labeled as a claimed lead, and you see call Zapier. So it sends a webhook over to Zapier to say, "Hey, we have a claimed lead over here." So if I pulled up that Zap, what you would see is it would simply say, "Reassign this group of agents to a different flow." And the different flow is the interrupt flow, which sends out a text that says, "This lead has been successfully claimed." So that kicks everybody off of the first flow, so nobody else can claim the lead. And it kind of ends the cycle. Now, what's also happening is they're getting thrown over here on a spreadsheet. Okay. And once there's a claimed lead, that's what this is here. So we have our event, claim lead in Tampa. It's going to pull a value, right? So it's going to basically get phone number. It's going to, I'm sorry, this is where it starts the interrupt flow, where it kicks everybody off of the other, the first flow. It's going to look up the lead in my Google spreadsheet. And it's going to update that spreadsheet with who claimed it and timestamp it. And then this Zap is only going to continue if it's not me or not Jessica. If it's anybody else, this is going to continue. In which case, it's going to look up the lead in call tools, which is the dialer I use in my call center. It's going to tag the contact and call in my dialer. It's going to find the entry in Zoho, which is the CRM that I use with my call center. It's going to create an entry in Zoho. And it's also creating other, I have other Zaps that tie into that, where it's creating other stuff for as far as tracking the referral forms and where they signed yet and stuff like that. Then we go into what's called a path. And if the agent is not with EXP, it gets this DocuSign. If the agent is in Florida, where I am, and with EXP, it gets this DocuSign. And the only difference there is Florida EXP, I know we have the same broker because it's automatically going to our broker for signature also. That's the only difference between those two flows. So that's how that particular Zap runs. And getting back to the original question, that's how I tie in DocuSign and autofill the forms. And I hope I answered your question.
Yeesh. How much time do you think that saves you, Kevin? I mean,
it's kind of like it's like a YouTube video, Shelly.
Yeah.
Once it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah.
Right. So the more times it gets used, the more money I save.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
How long did it take you to set all of that up, would you say?
I could probably, if I lost my account right now and I had to recreate that, it'd probably take me about 20 or 30 minutes. But I'm a little bit more well-versed now than I was a few years ago.
Yeah. And then
I was brand new trying to figure that out. I would never get into paths. I mean, I've got other flows where I've got lookup tables and so on and so forth, and some what I consider a little bit more advanced stuff.
Yeah, it is.
I'm storing stuff that's at the end of this Zap, and I'm recalling it in another Zap. You know what I mean? So I do okay, I guess.
You know what you're doing.
My goal is with real estate agents that I work with specifically on my team is I want to help them focus on 2.5 to 3 hours of prospecting a day or doing whatever activity generates business for them. And so if our team, the more automation I could do, the more value I can also offer to my team, which I find extremely helpful because they think somehow they know, but they know that somehow everything's getting done, but it's not costing me actual dollars. And then when I hire people, I can pay them more money and I could take care of them and I could spend more time with them because they're not hung up in mundane tasks that are driving me crazy that it takes them so long to do. So I've become a happier person, honestly, with Zapier. As nerdy as it all sounds, it's really, really been helpful in my business. So yeah. So this has been fun. George, I feel like I recognize you. Oh, thank you so much. I recognize George from somewhere, but I don't know where. But good to see you. Where's everybody at?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, where is everyone at? Here, are you in California or?
I'm in Arizona right now.
Arizona?
But I have a California license as well.
And Sherry, you're in Missouri?
Kansas City, yes.
Kansas City? Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions or any comments, remarks, jokes?
I thought that was so awesome. And when I said it was above my pay grade, didn't have anything to do with your presentation. It was just, I really need to delve into it and start, like you said, just start with one and then, go from there, see how it all ties in and how I can use it.
Yeah, you've got to keep the motivation high by identifying something that really bugs you. I go by the rule of, the 3 rule is like, if it annoys me, sometimes not even 3 times, but if it bothers me 3 times, I'm going to find a way to figure out how to do it or automate it or have someone else do it or not do it at all. So look for those little naggy items.
Yes. Cool.
Well, anyone going to EXPCon or going to any conferences coming up soon?
Yep. I'll be there. Vegas.
Kelly will be there. Awesome.
Gabrielle too is coming.
Awesome. Are you all on the team?
I went to San Antonio, so I'm not going to the one in Vegas. We just went to that last month. Yeah.
That was a good one. Yeah. Are many of you on a team together? You work together?
A few of us.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in Workplace, so if you ever want to find me there, my website is jessicanieto.com, but more than anything, I love to stay in contact on Facebook. That's my favorite CRM. So it's Jessia Nieto. I'll put it here actually in the chat if anyone else wants to put theirs. And
also, Jessica is speaking at EXPCon this year. She'll be speaking. So that's
the last year I opened EXPCon. I was the first one on stage with Curtis. And that was less nerve-wracking, I think, than speaking's been a new thing. I've been speaking over the last 2 years, and it's funny to feel your kind of stretch those muscles or grow those muscles, right? But opening EXPCon was such an honor. You see the bright lights, and there's like 6,000 realtors out there, and that part was easier than speaking for 20 minutes for me when it's a new topic. So wish me luck. I'm excited.
You'll be great. Well, I appreciate you coming on here and spending some time with us as busy as you are. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Or my zaps are busy, right? I'm just joking.
Right. You've got them doing all the work.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Shelly. Thanks, everyone. And hope to stay in touch. Click my Facebook there. Follow me there. We'll stay in touch. Thanks. Yes. I see Kevin's just popped up.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Yep. And we're already friends.
Oh, yeah. So
yes.
Perfect.
And I'll see you in Vegas.
Sherry, Dean, Stephanie. Yeah. Yulia, George. Great to see you. Take care.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming on.
Make it a great day.
Thank you for the presentation.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.